Your Excellency and dear brother, President Dr. Hage Geingob, President of the Republic of Namibia, honorable ministers, our high commissioners, senior officials, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by thanking you, Your Excellency, and my dear elder brother, for honoring our invitation to come to South Africa for a state visit. Too many years have passed since the last state visit to South Africa by the Republic of Namibia. The last visit was in November of 2012. A great many things have changed our world since then, including the COVID-19 pandemic that wreaked havoc across the globe and weakened our economies and devastated the lives of our peoples. The pandemic had a devastating impact on human health, livelihoods, economic activity, and it will take us some time before we fully recover. Therefore, as we further cement our strong bilateral relations, we need to work together for a swift economic and social recovery for our respective countries, but also for our region and our continent. It is gratifying that officials from our two countries continue to engage at various levels, notwithstanding the years that ensued without this type of engagement. The most recent structured engagement was the senior officials meeting of the third South Africa-Namibia Binational Commission that took place in Windhoek in March of this year. I'm pleased with the work that has been done in preparation for the upcoming National Commission, which is scheduled to be held in Namibia in Windhoek later this year. That is when we will have an opportunity to have intensive discussions on various matters that are germane to our two countries. Yesterday, Namibia's Minister in the Presidency and South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation had the opportunity to discuss the issues of mutual interest to our two nations. This engagement will be valuable for our discussions today, as we will hear a brief report. As we sign new agreements and memoranda of understanding during this visit, it is important that we conduct an audit of all existing legal instruments between our two countries in preparation for the Binational Commission meeting that will be held later this year, as I said. In fact, as you and I also agreed and reiterated, we need to be certain that they are fit for purpose and that they continue to serve our respective developmental goals. That is, the various agreements, memoranda of understanding, and various instruments that have been entered into between our two countries over a number of years. As neighbors with deep historical ties, we share the same aspirations for our people with regard to development, employment, equality, eradicating poverty, and reducing the levels of unemployment. We are therefore committed to deepen our cooperation, particularly in the area of trade and investment. It is unfortunate that due to other events taking place this year, we were not able to convene a business forum on the sidelines of this state visit. However, as you and I discussed in our tete-a-tete, we have agreed that this business forum should be held later this year, and in fact, it should be part or on the sidelines of the BNC that will be held in Namibia. We both agreed that it will be important to bring a large number of South African business people to Namibia so that they both have an opportunity, that is business people from South Africa and Namibia, to look at the opportunities that are opening up in various sectors of our respective economies. It is an opportunity to bring those private sector together to promote investment, trade, and potential new areas of cooperation. Namibia is one of South Africa's top trading partners in the Southern African Customs Union, SACU, and the Southern African Development Community, which is SADC. We must use our geographic proximity and the close ties that we have between our two countries, particularly in respect of our two economies, for greater mutual benefit. One of the areas to expand cooperation is in the energy sector. For example, how do we leverage growing demand for new clean technologies, particularly in areas like the green hydrogen, to promote cross-border development? Both our countries are planning massive hydrogen projects and will catalyze economic growth and job creation in both our countries. I'm particularly pleased that Namibia is forging ahead to exploit this great endowment in the hydrogen area like we are doing. We need to look at how we can collaborate as our respective governments, state-owned enterprises, and private companies to seize this great opportunity. Our shared history enjoins us to pursue a common future. It is imperative that we implement the African Continental Free Trade Area to deepen and broaden economic cooperation between our two countries. South Africa pledges to continue to work closely with Namibia, as you are the current chair of SADC's organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation, to promote regional peace and stability. Please be assured of our full support during your tenure as chair of the organ, including with respect to regional anti-terrorism initiatives in northern Mozambique. As we strive for peace and stability in our region, we must continue to support the struggle for self-determination and freedom of the Sahrawi people. The declaration and commitments of SADC Solidarity Conference with Western Sahara, which was co-hosted by South Africa and Namibia in March of 2019, should be fully implemented. We must continue to mobilize regional, continental, and international support for a sustainable resolution to the Western Sahara issue and push for the Kingdom of Morocco and Polisario to resume dialogue without any form of preconditions. At the same time, we should reaffirm our support for the Palestinians' cause and for a two-state solution to that conflict. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine has exposed the frailties of international systems of government. South Africa, like Namibia, maintains that the United Nations and the Office of the Secretary General should play an active role in resolving this conflict. We are firm in believing that conflicts of this nature are best resolved through negotiation and dialogue. We also agree that the United Nations, in its current configuration, needs to be more responsive to the needs and aspirations of the majority of the world's people. We must step up our efforts to change the design of the multilateral systems of governance in the world. One of the most pressing issues facing our respective countries and our region is climate change. But more importantly, on the effect of climate change on food security, energy generation, and many other sectors. We need to work together in pursuit of solutions for climate change, such as low carbon, inclusive, climate resilient development, which is critical to the sustainability of our continent. Your Excellency, I look forward to our discussions on these and other important matters of mutual interest, and I do thank you most sincerely for honoring our invitation and warmly welcome you and your delegation to South Africa. When you are in South Africa, you are home, away from home. So welcome. We are delighted to have you and your delegation from Namibia in South Africa. Thank you.
Your Excellency, my dear brother, President Cyril Ramaphosa, honorable ministers from South Africa and Namibia, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, 33 years ago, I could not have imagined joining you in a free and non-racial South Africa. I could not have imagined that this day would come where leaders and citizens of our two formerly oppressed sister nations would hold hands and pull together in the same direction of shared prosperity and peaceful socio-economic development. Let me pause here and first thank you very much for having invited me and my delegation to visit this great country of yours. It's our neighbor, and therefore we are happy about the reception we received from our sister the minister, our senior minister. Thank you very much. I made a mistake a little bit earlier. I think when I'm driving a car, I say "Giafet" in Afrikaans. Now in the plane, I also said that, and they misunderstood, and they put "vet" earlier. So I'm sorry about that. Our two governing parties, SWAPO and ANC, are inseparably bound by a difficult history of struggle against the tyranny of apartheid oppression. Our camaraderie has been forged in the fiery cauldron of the War of Liberation for the emancipation of both South Africa and Namibia. As freedom fighters, we walked hand in hand and worked side by side in different capitals of Africa, such as Dar es Salaam, Lusaka, Cairo, Luanda, Accra, Lagos, and New York at the United Nations, as well as other cities of the world, with the objective to end apartheid in our two sister countries. Therefore, the bonds of solidarity between our two nations are etched in sweat and blood. They are etched in our collective and glorious history of struggle and triumph against brutality of apartheid. I always say that you cannot choose your friends, but you cannot choose. I always say you can choose your friends, but you cannot choose your neighbors. However, in South Africa, we are not only with a neighbor, we're friends, comrades, with whom we share very painful past in building an optimistic future of shared prosperity and opportunities. My term as the President of the Republic of Namibia, the land of the brave, is coming to an end in 22 months' time, on March 21st, 2025. When I was saying that for some other African countries, they're not happy. I said, why do you announce you want to go? Do it quietly. But we have a social contract with the people. And if we can know that you are there to serve and go, as President Mandela did, overstaying your welcome eventually puts you in trouble. So term limits that we have, I'm very happy and I'm proudly announcing that my term, my contract, social contract with my people is ending very soon. But I still have 2 years to go. Don't worry. Those who are hungry this side, they should know I still have 2 years and I can do a lot of things. I'm therefore delighted to be here to consolidate our partnership with the people of South Africa. I thank my dear brother, President Ramaphosa, for the kind invitation and honor of a state visit, the reception we got, and so on. I'm really touched to be in this building. Those of us who were fighting against apartheid to come to this building and be received by your comrade and to plan ahead. I'm really touched and thank you very much for the reception. Today we are indeed in a new dawn, as my dear brother, President Ramaphosa, always says. As we marshal our nations in this new dawn of hope and promise, we cannot take for granted the honor of following in the giant footsteps of Chief Lutuli, Oliver Tambo, Uwar Kolim, Nelson Mandela, Captain Andre Betwe, Osiaku Dagos, Sam Nyoma, and many others. They ignited the torch of liberation struggle and carried the painful weight of personal sacrifice for us to enjoy our freedoms in an independent, free, and non-racial South Africa and in Namibia. My presence here today, together with the large delegation of government leaders, is a demonstration of the fact that President Ramaphosa and I will continue with the fight for socio-economic justice for our people. Just like South Africa, Namibia is a young nation going through the trials and tribulations of maturing constitutional democracies. As maturing constitutional democracies. As part of our democratic franchise, fundamental rights are guaranteed in our constitutions, including property rights, freedom of movement, association, etc. However, all freedoms, including that of the media, comes with responsibility and accountability. What has been gained can also be lost if handled carelessly. Your Excellency, in Namibia we are working hard to ensure that our democracy delivers goods and services and prosperity to our citizens. Despite our best efforts and intentions as a government, the past 8 years of my presidency have been extremely difficult for our nation. Namibia went through a global commodity crisis, the worst droughts ever recorded in our history, and the devastation of COVID-19, which took lives of many of our citizens and contracted economy. However, during that difficult period, we Namibians stood together as one nation, one people. We were able to protect most vulnerable sections of our population. We did so through various interventions, such as the economic stimulus and relief package of 8.1 billion Namibian dollars to address the negative effects of the COVID lockdown. We also doubled the old age pension grant and the grants for those living with disabilities. For vulnerable school-going children, we rolled out school feeding schemes. Since I believe that in every crisis lies an opportunity, we have in the past 3 years re-engineered our governance architecture to seize the opportunities of the fourth industrial revolution. Through the Harambee Prosperity Plan 1 and 2, we have people that say, why did you say Harambee? And I thought urbanization building is to keep people together, not divide. Now Harambee is a Swahili word. If I had chosen Damara word, it would be difficult to pronounce the clicks and so on. So I thought to be inclusive, because I believe in inclusivity, which spells harmony. Exclusivity always spells conflict. So wherever you do something, you must try to be inclusive. That's why I chose a Swahili word, a neutral word, which means let's pull in the same direction. In that vein, we are in the advanced stages of developing a green hydrogen and ammonia industry in 3 regions of our country. Moreover, Shell and Total Energies, together with our national oil company, NAMCO, and investors from Qatar, have discovered hydrocarbons not far from South Africa in the Orange Basin. This presents us with another opportunity for collaboration between our governments and the private sector in the oil and gas industry, and also in hydrogen sector that we are pursuing, as you mentioned yourself. Our countries have undergone major transformative socio-economic and political changes since the onset of independence in 1990 in Namibia and the democratization of South Africa in 1994. The South Africa of today is not the same South Africa of 1994. And the Namibia of today is equally worlds apart from the badly governed apartheid Namibia we inherited in 1990. The black majority of South Africa suffered 4 centuries of racism and neglect, and we in Namibia went through a century of colonial occupation, poor governance, and racism. It is difficult for us in Namibia to correct a century of these wrongs in 33 years. Because we are being told, we have been in power, what is happening there is your responsibility. But what we had was a structural segregation, structural. You cannot just remove it in 33 years. When you are also there, enjoined by the Constitution, to accommodate those whom you have defeated. Because our Constitution is very clear that we have to accept those who are there. And I'm very proud that I think many of our fellow white compatriots are also regarding themselves as citizens. There are some, but we are happy with majority. We have accepted that they are Namibians. We have New Africa I talk about. Africa of today is having what I call third wave of African leaders. First wave of African leaders were those extraordinary personalities who woke us up to say, you are sleeping, you are oppressed, get up and fight. Talking about the founding fathers, those Sekou Touré, Nyerere, Nkrumah, and them. That was the first wave of African leaders, I think. Second wave were those who were caught up in a Cold War confusion, where even Even if you didn't read Das Kapital, you were a socialist or a communist. And there are those who became capitalists without having capital. And that way we are caught up in that confusion. Second wave of African leaders are those who are caught up in that confusion. And now third wave of African leaders, I claim, I could be wrong, are those who come through constitutional means, who believe in term limits, and therefore will deal with processes, systems, and institutions. I can attest to the fact that my brother here and I are those third wave of African leaders. We believe in freedom. Look what we are going through, both in Namibia and South Africa. Press is free. They say a lot of things. People are singing songs about Hagalulu and so on and so on. But that's the freedom I enjoy. And they said, they're asking my wife, does he like this thing? I said, he enjoys them. So that's the third wave of African leaders. I told you already, I'm leaving. I'm not going to change the constitution. That's a third wave leader. Term limits must be honored. Now we have problems in some countries in West Africa where presidents are changing the constitutions to continue. But when you do that, when you overstay, you're welcome. Things are going to happen. It happened in Guinea-Conakry with my dear friend. We used to argue, say, Hage, why do you like term limits? And I said, after I explained, I said, we got used to it, just to get rid of him. What happened? He says, if people want you to be there, why should you refuse? I said, okay, I'm coming for term limits. They wanted me for 10 years, maybe if I survive, then I go. I'm old too. Then, after a few years, man, what happened? Military coup. Same place. Painful situation that I cannot talk about. I'm in touch with him, but I try to remind him by not hating him. So as Africans, really, we should hold hands, South Africa and Namibia especially. I endorse fully your speech. You dealt more with technical, you are a technocrat, I'm a politician. So you dealt more with the technical part, which I endorse. We should hold hands and look at this green kind of things that we are seeing about this green hydrogen thing. Talk about it because we will need the infrastructure. We may have the facilities, environment, but we need the infrastructure and offtake. And you are a big power. So that's why we think we are going to talk seriously about these issues. And oil too, oil is not far from your coast, so you may still get it. It will be too late maybe if you're not hurrying up. Oil will never be welcome, but if we can do it now, we must go ahead and coming to the end. I talk about building a Namibian house. A house in which all Namibian children must live in harmony. When you build a house, you must dig lay a strong foundation. Then you use the bricks and mortar to put that house, the floor, wall to go up. Let me jump and say, after you have now finished the wall, you must let it firm up. If you push it, it will fall down. Even with a finger, you can push. But you firm it up and you plaster it. And the bricks that we are using are your different ethnic groups and your races. Then the laws you are passing hold those bricks together. Now, same with nation building. The ethnic groups, we dug our constitution, that's our foundation, good one. We are using our different tribes to build that wall. My point is, when you have plastered that wall, you have given South African colors and Namibian flag colors, your favorite colors. That is a Namibian house, where all Namibian children must live there in peace. It doesn't mean that in families we don't quarrel. We can disagree. But that is what we wish South Africa to do, and we are doing it. That is what we wish Namibia to do, We are trying our best, we are doing it. That's why I'm here to my neighbors to share our views and how can we continue to address the issues that we're facing in Southern Africa. You mentioned Mozambique. I'm the chairperson, we are working together. I can't repeat that. Same true of the DRC. In DRC, I have some information I will share with you later on. I got some letter from somewhere. Things are not going well there too. Although we are leaving that to Angolan president because they were dealing with that. They have agreed in Kenya, I think, and we are hoping things will move. But my issue is, as grown-up people, how long are we going to get involved in these internal conflicts? We know that what is in Sudan today, when you watch the TV and see what is going on, destruction, only to rebuild again tomorrow. So why don't we grow up and really see that what we are doing, destroying our countries, arresting each other and so on, what is happening, is not helping us to develop. We are not respected by the world when we are fighting among ourselves. So Namibia and South Africa, let's move on. Let's disagree without being disagreeable. Let's hold hands in South Africa and in Namibia as brothers and sisters so that we can live in this South African house and us in Namibian house in peace. With that, I would like to thank you.